The death toll tonight is more than 82,000.
82,000.
Bullshit! Jed, why are you always giving CNN a hard time? You know they're always out there doing their best to put out the most accurate information. Why don't you open your mind and learn something for once, pumpkin head?
You were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death.
82,000.
That means that even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death.
82,000. That toll could soar to 147,000 deaths by August 4th.
Even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So
147,000 deaths.
Okay, here's the thing about CNN. They're unbiased and don't play party politics. There's no way they would ever be giving any politician a free ride, and they certainly wouldn't promote anybody's campaign. If they ever did, that would immediately disqualify them and cut them off from the ranks of those who actually have journalistic integrity. Wait, what's this?
Doing what they call in politics freezing pockets, because the donors are giving her money thinking she's going to run. That means they're not going to have available money for other candidates if she doesn't, and I don't think she's going to give it to them.
She's on her way to deciding.
We'll see.
About deciding.
We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
You know what I mean? She's got just a free ride so far from the media. We're the biggest ones promoting her campaign. We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
You know what I mean? She's got just a free ride so far from the media. We're the biggest ones promoting her campaign.
I don't know why people don't trust CNN. Heck, the way some people act, you'd think CNN had been trying to deceive their audience from the very beginning, like the journalists were some sort of stage actors on a big network stage show to, I don't know, maybe foment war in the hearts of the audience.
All right, we are now led to understand that there are also firings in another city in Saudi Arabia. CNN's Carl Rochelle is here with me. He just came up. Carl, I know we can't be very specific given these restrictions, but within those parameters, what did you see?
Well, what I saw, I didn't see anything hit. I looked almost straight above us. There's a vapor trail coming from my right to my left, and there's a cloud of something. It looks like it might have been an explosion, a cloud. I'd say it was... My apologies for that. He's putting on a gas mask. There hasn't been any gas dropped here that we could tell.
You smell anything?
No. Oh. You may smell some of the fumes from a missile exhaust going off. The missiles use a rocket, a cordite, some sort of burning. We just heard a little thump just then. But
I have to apologize for that. I caught a whiff of something and felt momentarily dizzy. You're more experienced in military affairs than I am, but it might have been a little gas from the rocket exhaust. Well, apparently wasn't anything. A lot of people have the respirators on just in case.
And again, you run to get down here. You, in my case, jumped out of bed, hearing the air raid warning go on. You run down 3 flights of stairs to get out of here. It's probably 100 yards. You hyperventilate a little bit, and you're nervous.
Oh yeah, and then there was that time the CNN cameraman John Gurkovich pretended to be a Hillary Clinton supporter, telling the audience to demand that there be a recount based on the popular vote back in 2016.
So you don't feel like this was a fair election because it looks like Donald Trump won fair and square.
How did he win fair and square? Hillary had more votes. More human beings voted for Hillary. This isn't fair. We didn't get one vote. You didn't get a vote. It's just like back in the day when your vote was 1/3.
So the Electoral College, here's somebody who wants to blow that up. You want to get rid of Electoral College?
Just count the votes. It's ridiculous. Hillary, you're a lawyer. Walk in, go to the Supreme Court. I believe in you, Hillary. I've been to Rwanda. I've been to your hospital in Rwanda. I've seen all the good you've done. I believe in you. Women need you. Minorities need you. I need you. Chicago needs you. We all need you. This country needs you to stand up and walk into the Supreme Court and say one vote equals one vote. What's wrong with that? What's the
I
debate?
definitely feel his passion. There's other people out here who feel the same way.
Don't burn
At
the
one
flag.
point, you had people who were blocking this road. Chicago police moved in. Everything has remained peaceful. Like I said, Don, as you see, thousands of people still continue to gather. But like you heard this man, very passionate about the idea. He doesn't want Hillary to stop.
Yeah, Brian, you know I used to live there, and I know that guy. That's John Gurkovic. He actually went to Africa with me as a cameraman. But anyway, that's another story. All right, thank you, John. Thank you very much, Ryan. I want to get back to Jason. Jason, you have been covering the Trump team tonight.
And guys, CNN has never been a network to wait for the news to come to them. As a matter of fact, if they don't have any news, they just make it up. Like right here. They didn't have a large enough crowd for a protest, so they managed to get some people together with signs, round them up, orchestrate the whole thing, and then crammed them all together so the CNN cameras could pan in for some tight shots. And boom! There you have it, an Instamatic, propaganda-ready protest background for a CNN news segment. Former CNN employee Amber Lyons admitted that CNN is paid by countries to show positive content for that country. For example, according to Lyons, CNN showed Bahrain in a favorable light in spite of gross human rights abuses. She called CNN an infomercial for dictators.
And sneak into some of the villages and actually see these atrocities, patients who'd run out of the hospitals, that were shot up with birdshot, ambulance drivers who were beaten. And as we were heading back out of these villages, we were violently detained by security forces in Bahrain, about 20 masked men with machine guns, who then tried to erase all the video that they found. And luckily, my female producer and I were able to hide some discs in our bras, and we were able to actually get out of the country with this content. So you can imagine Bahrain's surprise when we got back to the U.S. and this content was airing on CNN. And right after that is when the phone calls started coming into the network complaining about me. Bahrain is paying CNN to create content that shows Bahrain in a favorable light, even though CNN says this content, is editorially independent. It doesn't, Bahrain can't affect that. Well, we've seen that with this documentary not airing, and also with the constant struggle I had at CNN to get Bahrain coverage, accurate Bahrain coverage of the human rights abuses on air while I was there. What CNN is doing is they're essentially creating what some people have termed infomercials for dictators. And that's this sponsored content that they're airing on CNN International that's actually being paid for by regimes and governments. I mean, this violates every principle of journalistic ethics because we're supposed to be watchdogs on these governments. We're not supposed to allow them to be paying customers as journalists.
Then you got CNN lying about things they didn't even have a good reason to lie about. Like the location of two of the reporters, Ashley Banfield and Nancy Grace.
Ashley Banfield from a parking lot in Phoenix, reporting via satellite with Nancy Grace, who seemed to be in the same parking lot in Phoenix. I'm basing that, of course, on the fact that the cars that are passing by Ashley Banfield's location box also appear to be passing directly into Nancy Grace's box.
You gotta ask yourself, if they lied about this, what have they lied about and what are they willing to lie about in the future? Is anything that comes out of their mouths the truth? And no video exposing the downright deception and evil coming out of mainstream media, specifically CNN, would be complete without mentioning that CNN, the Washington Compost Pile, and the New York Slimes thought it would be a good idea to slander and defame a 16-year-old high school kid on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. The slander coming out of the Counterfeit News Network was so bad that people, including celebrities like CNN's brain-eating journalist Reza Aslan, this same guy claims to have eaten brains on camera. This same Reza Aslan asked if anyone has seen a more punchable face than Nick Sandmann. These are not only the kinds of people CNN hires, this is what CNN is to its very core. They don't care about truth. They only care about slandering, lying, and their other specialty, race baiting. Here's race baiter extraordinaire Don Lemon to tell you that the biggest terror threat in America is white men radicalized to the right.
We have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is White men, most of them radicalized to the right.
White men, most of them radicalized to the right.
And here's some more racist trash talk by Simone Sanders.
What do you say to the people who dragged a poor white guy out of a car and beat him?
Oh my goodness, poor white people, please, oh my, stop it, Carl. We don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is diverse, and it should be reflected as so in our leadership. I want to hear more from everybody. I'm here for the millennials and the brown folks.
Oh my goodness, poor white people, please, oh my, stop. We don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. I'm here for the millennials and the brown folks.
The media is not the enemy of the people.
Guys, this is just a real quick compilation. We could go on like this for days, but this is enough to let anybody who has two brain cells to rub together know that CNN stands guilty of broadcasting misleading information, deception, fomenting war, race baiting, and outright lying. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share them with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support this channel, grab one of these hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirts from the shirt store. Your purchase helps support more content. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.
Deaf and dumb thespians take the silent stages. With their cobweb throats, they can't sing any notes, so the audience begins dispersing. The actors get pissed, they start cursing. They're tired of rehearsing. They're ready to do the damn show. They're ready to go. You know what I mean? Fuck the quarantine, fuck COVID-19, fuck a fucking vaccine. Social engineering at the center stage. About to go full circle when we turn the page. Miss Deborah Burks, you old bitch, putting COVIDs on obits and certificates, it's ridiculous.